Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you after a grueling week of illness, back pain and internet problems with another video for Eve Echoes. For those of you who don't know, last week I had severe problems with our service provider. Not only did they decide to increase our bill by the equivalent of $65 a month, they also decided to change it from billing at the end of the month for the month used to the start of the month for the month forward, which meant that 2 weeks into the month, without us knowing, they decided to cut off our internet and then took 2 days to switch the blasted thing back on when we finally found out from them what was going on. Yeah, this is life in Zimbabwe. It's great fun, and I promise you I am still working on that video of how life is out here. Loads of you have been asking on Discord all kinds of crazy questions about Zimbabwe. I have been writing down the answers and trying to capture footage and things to showcase some of that in action as well. So it will be like a little mini-series, I think, that I end up doing there. So don't worry, it is still coming, and if you've got any particular questions about life out here, please do jump onto Discord in the description below, find the About Zimbabwe channel, and ask away. I love having your questions. I'm looking forward to making that video. Anyway, today is Monday. Normally I would do a developer Q&A on Friday when the Eve Echoes developer Q&A goes up on the official Eve Echoes Twitter account. It's normally on a Thursday. This week was on a Friday because Thursday was NetEase Connect, and thus we had all the cool information about exploration, the Yanjung, and possible Sisters of Eve. We now have the developer Q&A for, I think it was the week of the 11th of May through to the 18th of May. So it's a little bit late, but we're going to go through this one today. As usual, if you enjoy this, hit like, subscribe to the channel, ding the notification bell, and of course, if you do want to help support this channel, I have a Patreon, and there is a Redbubble merchandise store that you can check out as well. That all said and done then, let's jump into this week's developer Q&A. There's some really cool questions in this one. First of all, on some ships you can't clearly see kill marks, even if you know where they are. The Ashamu, for example, which is a good point. If you try to find kill marks on an Ashamu, they are very difficult to find. They're an orange colour on a mottled red and white ship, and they're very small and hidden in quite a not-so-obvious place. It would be easier if the colour of the kill marks was adjusted for some ships. What about blue kill marks on an Ashamu instead of red and orange ones? Actually, I think green would work best, being a complementary colour. It stands out, it's the opposite colour on the colour wheel, but hey, that's besides the point. NetEase Kylum says, "We will see how to further improve this once the current content listed on our roadmap is finished. Thanks for your suggestion." And I agree with this. This is one of those things that actually shouldn't be too hard to implement. It's just a case of tweaking the colour. And there are actually some ships out there that I can't actually find the kill marks. I'm sure they're on there. I don't want to say there are some ships that don't have kill marks, but on the Shanyu and the Kanyue, their Battlecruiser, have a look and tell me if you can find the kill marks on that thing. I really struggle with those ones, and there are some others as well that I struggle with. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, making them more visible definitely would be pretty cool. Next question. Has the idea of more role-specific pirate faction ships come around yet? I think it would be interesting to see some faction interdictors, destroyers, battlecruisers, guardian, covert ops capable, support logistics, or even industrial ships. Now, before I look at Lancelot's answer here, this is actually the case in EVE Online. There are some ships that are outside of the pirate frigate, cruiser, and battleship blueprint. There are actually some in there, like, for example, the Angel Cartel Lynx. Yeah, it's another frigate that they have, and there are some corvettes for some of them, the Blood Raider Covenant Hematos, for example, which you can make your Impera look like. It's basically a Blood Raider Covenant Impera, and if you chose a Ma as your starting race, and then decided to take the Impera skin from the login rewards when you first start the game, that will actually look like a Blood Raider ship, which is really, really cool. And I would love to see some of these in here. That said, faction interdictors, screw off. We have enough interdictors and interceptors as it is. We don't need 3 interdictors for each race. We certainly don't need pirate interdictors. Go away with interdictors. Destroyers, yes, I would love to see an Angel Cartel destroyer. I would love to see a Blood Raider destroyer. I'd love to see a Kuristus destroyer. Specifically, though, I think the Angel Cartel would be a useful one because we don't have any good small cannon destroyers. Battlecruisers, yeah, again, seeing the Kanyue as a battlecruiser was pretty cool, and I would love to see some of these appear in the game. Guardians, this is where things start to get a little bit weird for me. When we look at things like Guardians, covert ops, support logistics, that kind of thing, I look at some of the ships we have out there, like the Estero is the Covert Ops one, and I kind of like it that way. I think if you made a kind of Serpentis Corporation Covert Ops ship, you're kind of treading into very dangerous territory. Same with the Guardians. You've already got the Nightmare, the Phantasm, and the Succubus. Yeah, they're not dedicated Guardians, but they do fulfill that job surprisingly well. And I think if you're starting to go into this, you end up in a situation where you can make an entire fleet that is completely self-supported with just pirate faction ships, and I'm not certain how I feel about that. You guys might think that's awesome, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just not personally sure how I feel about that. It's my opinion. I think Guardians, Covert Ops capable ships, and logistics should probably be relegated to the 4 main empires, and they should stay there. There needs to be a reason to have those empires, of course. Industrial ships, I mean, technically we have ore, which are faction industrials. I kind of get what you mean, what, like an Angel Cartel or Serpentis Corporation or Guristas Hauler? I mean, they're pirates. They would just use the blueprints. Unless there's a specific reason to make a ship pirate, and sort of do something really unique with it, I don't think there's a need to just keep adding more just for the sake of adding more. We've already got, what, 12 dedicated industrial ships that do already outrank each other. Once you can fly a Wreath, there's not much point flying a Mammoth, and once you can fly a Wreath too, well, what's the point in the Wreath? You get what I'm saying? So if you've got that, why would you then need an Angel Cartel hauler? I mean, the Angel Cartel, as far as we know in EVE Online background, and the Guristas, the Serpentis, all of these, if they're going to use hauling, which, in fairness, people like the Blood Raiders and the Guristas don't really bother about industry. They just steal what they need for the most part, and they don't really have hauling ships and stuff like that. But if they did, why wouldn't they just use the blueprints for a Tyra? It is my kind of thought there. Anyway, I'm sitting on this way too long. What does Lance say? We currently plan on adding additional factional ships sometime in August, which will also be connected through the new features being released at that time. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and from previous developer Q&As and things, I think that's talking about Mordu's Legion, that we are getting, of course, the Garma, the Orthrus, and the Barghest coming in August as part of the Arena update, and I am so super psyched about the Arena update. I mean, literally, this year is looking amazing for me. The next few months we get Exploration, then we're going to be hitting Tier 10, then we're getting the Arena at the end of that, and that's just incredible. Sisters of Eve, there's talk about those might be in the Exploration update. I mean, they're exploration ships. They get bonuses from exploration skills. They're even being used in the key art for the Exploration update, so I kind of feel like Sisters of Eve may be coming in June. Again, I could be wrong, that could be something they come in August. We've also talked previously with the NetEase Connect about the new Yanjung ships, namely the supers, the Titans, not Titans, what am I looking for? Capitals, that's the word I'm looking for, capital ships, with the Mochizuki and the Huahui, or however you pronounce that, Force Auxiliary. Now, those, I imagine, are coming in August with the others as well, but again, they're right around the corner. We might be seeing the Shanyue and the Kanyue being added to the game very soon. But yes, I would like to see more pirate faction ships later on. I don't think we need Guardians, Covert Ops, Logistics, or Industrial, personally. Anyway, since battleships are the new hotness, oh yeah, will we see micro jump drives anytime soon? Now, they say we plan on adding new modules to the game, including micro jump drives, in the summer, which makes sense. I think that's when capitals come, we're going to see the micro jump drives added. For those of you who don't know, a micro jump drive is a specific module, probably a low slot, where rather than activating it like you would an afterburner or a micro warp drive, you essentially activate it and you instantly warp 100 kilometers directly forward. It's just useful for clearing that little bit of space in something like a battleship. It's not good for prolonged use, like a micro warp drive or an afterburner would be. Obviously, afterburner is the one you leave running for the longest length of time. The micro warp drive is one you activate in bursts just to get you from A to B quickly. A micro jump drive, again, is just getting you from A to B super, super quickly. In EVE Online, if I recall correctly, again, I'm not used to big ships, a micro jump drive can be scrammed. If you hit someone with a warp scrambler, it does turn off micro jump drives as well. Great to see that those are coming. I do disagree with the question there that battleships are the new hotness. I think a lot of people like battleships, but I don't think they're the new hotness. Like, are they? Are battleships the new hotness and I'm just missing something here? Anyway, not having the availability of an assault battlecruiser made for large missiles makes it costly and time-intensive to train into large missiles. Each of the other weapon types has a battlecruiser that allows players to experience large weapons before putting skills into that particular weapon type, Naga, Oracle, etc., whose large weapon modifiers come from ship skills. Could you add an equivalent missile-focused battlecruiser? Now, I've got thoughts on this, but let's see what Nero says. We could review the possibility of this later on, but our main focus is ensuring that everything on the roadmap releases smoothly, as well as ensuring Tier 10 ships and all our additional content will be further balanced based on data and everyone's feedback once they're able to experience it all. Now, first things, before we talk about the question itself, I just want to say here, again, we're ensuring T10 ships and all of our additional content will be further balanced based on data and everyone's feedback once they're able to experience it all. This is a key point, that the developers are still taking feedback. They are still looking at what's going on. They decided to push the May balance update with a few minor adjustments here and there, but we are still having an active conversation with them about how things are going to be balanced later in the summer. It was originally just going to be a big balance patch in August, but we also know from last week the developers have said they're looking to do more frequent, smaller updates. So it's entirely possible we'll get minor balance in that time too, which I really personally think is needed. That could be a way to help fix destroyers, change up some of the frigates. Again, I'm going to talk about assault frigates and interceptors. Big balance changes need to happen with frigates and small ships. I'm still so sad that we are losing the covert ops destroyers, but I'm not going to harp on about that. The question itself here. Again, I know some people in the comment section are going to do the usual, oh, listen to Benzie, he's being completely unsympathetic with the community. And look, I will always try to say that, look, if the community wants something and it's beneficial to the game, 100%, let's do it. But I think as well, sometimes the developers need to save a community from itself. Communities like to ask for things that actually don't necessarily make sense, or could make things worse. I'm looking at you, whoever it was who suggested the ability to twin-use afterburners and micro-warp drives, which I still hope 100% that's been tested and thrown out the window into a volcano. Literally, take that idea and yeet it into a black hole. Anyway, talking about this particular one here. Okay, not having the availability of an assault battlecruiser made for large missiles makes it costly to train into large missiles. It's costly to train into all of them. Having a battlecruiser that can suddenly use large turrets, like the Tornado for large cannons, the Naga for large railguns, the Oracle for large lasers, and of course the Talos for large railguns as well. I get that you don't have a missile one. That's fine. It's not meant to be like that. You guys get things like, look at how many battleships there are that can use missiles already. You can go down the Raven line, you can go down the Typhoon line. Heck, there are plenty of like battle cruisers that you can fit large rapid missiles on as well. So you've got options there. There are already more missile ships in the game than any other weapon type besides, I think, railguns. But that's kind of a key point because railguns are across two entire empires. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a few more missiles here and there, but I don't think it's necessary. I think this question kind of frames it as poor old missile guys. They have to train into large missiles, and it's something that, you know, everyone else really struggles with. If you're looking at a battle cruiser that uses large weapons and a battleship that uses large weapons as if they're like, you know, you have to trade into one, then trade into the other. No, you don't. I literally have an account that started off training into cruisers. I then went into large cannons and battleships straight away from cruiser skills. You don't have to do battle cruisers first. You can go straight into battleships. Tech level 9 has large missile battleships with the Raven and the Typhoon. You don't have to train into battle cruiser first. And I get that battleship skills take more than battle cruisers do, but that's kind of the same point. If you want to fly a Tornado, you need to train into battlecruiser skills, and you need to train into large cannon skills, which are expensive skills. Large cannon skills, I'm not going to lie, are freaking insane. I'm training them on my Hurricane ult at the moment for that exact purpose of flying a Tornado. And I think advanced large cannon upgrade 5 is like 22 days. It's a big skill. But if you want to fly a battleship, yeah, you still do that large cannon, but you now do battleship upgrade skills, and you'll notice that the Tech 9 battleships all use basic battleship skills. You only need to get them to Battleship Command 5 or Battleship Engineering 5. They're big ships, and by the time you hit Tech 9 you should have a load of skill points that you can reallocate left, right and centre. And I think saying that, oh yeah, but I don't want to pay for Plex because, you know, I've trained up all these other skills, sorry about that, I've trained up all these other skills and I want to, you know, just go straight into this. You need to accept that battleships are going to use big skills. That's the point. So if you want to use large missiles, then yeah, you train into battleships and you use the Typhoon or the Raven. And those are very powerful ships that have some incredible bonuses to them. We were talking about this today, and I feel like I'm going on this question for a bit, but I want to explain myself. We were literally talking this morning about how a Raven can be fitted with large missiles, etc., that get a range far exceeding what any of the battleships or the battlecruisers can do with large cannons, and they apply that damage effectively across the entire range. If you're sitting at maximum range with missiles, you do the exact same damage as if you're sitting right on the doorstep. Whereas with cannons, if you're sitting at optimal range, obviously that's great, but as you go any further than that, as you go towards maximum range, your damage falls off. That's not true with missiles. So missiles they cost a bit more, because of that. I think if you had an assault battlecruiser like a Naga, Oracle, Talos, or like the Tornado, and you gave it large missiles, you're going to have problems. It's just going to be flat out better than the others, which, I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't think a ship like this should ever exist. I just think the reasons given for wanting it to exist are wrong. I think if you're sitting there saying, I want to use large missiles, but it's unfair that I have to train into battleships whereas everyone else can just stop at battlecruiser, that's the wrong reason. That's like me sitting there saying, oh, well, I want to fly a Hurricane, but I don't want to have to pay for that when I could just use a Stabber, because it uses the same thing. Why are the Hurricane skills more expensive than the Stabber skills? I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling on about this, but this one to me is a really important point that I'm seeing an awful lot coming up these days. People are saying, oh, I want this ship, I want that ship, and it's like, why? Why do you want that? I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting it. I just think you should stop and ask why you want it. Is it necessary? We have limited development time. Is it a ship that we need right now? No. Is it a ship we could have in the future? Yeah, 100%. But I just think that the idea of here that it's costly and time intensive to train into large missiles, well, yeah. If you want to train large missiles, you're training into a battleship. That's the point. Same as if you're training into large turrets. If you're coming from day one, for example, obviously I know you can't because the skills aren't there, but if you're coming in from day one and you decide that actually I really want to use large cannons, surely your end goal is likely to be a Maelstrom or a Tornado, a Maelstrom or a Tempest. Possibly even a Macariel. Yeah, the Tornado's there, but I don't think it's the main reason people train into large, and I think it's just a badly worded question here that kind of puts the wrong reason to the forefront. Anyway, I have spent entirely too long on that question. We've got some cool information now. I'd love to see the kill marks changed on ships. Different pirate ships, yes. I just don't think we need necessarily Guardians, Covert Ops, Support Logistics, or Industrials. Battleships, micro jump drives, yes, we're getting them at some point. Yay, that would be pretty cool. It's a nice module. It's a bit of a, you know, a unique jump there. A different module that does something very different to what we have currently in the game, and things like assault battlecruisers. I'm not against this. I'm not against this. Like, I'm hoping we get the tier 3 versions of the cruisers, and those being added later on as well. But and the destroyers, the Tech 3 destroyers. Again, I would love to see these added. Also, Firetail, Hookbill, Comet, and Slicer. Please add those to the game sometime soon. We really, really need them now more than ever. Anyway, folks, those are my thoughts and opinions. Please let me know what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what kind of things you want to see added to EVE Echoes in the future. And remember, if you've got a question, open up your AI in-game. It's the little circle that looks almost like an eye wandering round. Tap on Q&A, ask your question. If it's selected to be answered by the developers and put onto the official Twitter account and thus features in one of my videos, you will also win a month of Basic Omega just for asking a cool question. Thanks for watching, folks. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in Eden.